Ironic that I'm doing this now because the Big 12 just dropped its schedule.
Post-editing Drew here. Yeah, it's been a while. I've just put this off for a bit.
But most of these conferences are basically going away with divisions and would pick the top two teams to go to their conference championship games. However, I could see a lot of problems with it because if there are more than two teams that deserve to be in the conference championship game and a few of them get snubbed, you're going to have angry fan bases, and that's not what you want to have happen. So, what if I took the measures into my own hands and put the Power Four conferences back into divisions that make the most sense? Should be interesting. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Drew, better known as RockJog01, and in this video, as I said before, I am going to put the college football Power 4 conferences and split them up in divisions that make the most sense to me. Because I know the ACC and the Big 12 have gotten rid of divisions, and I know the Big 10 is thinking about it, and I have no clue on the SEC.
Okay, first off, future Drew, do not delay projects. Simple. Second off, to you folks, yes, the Big 10 did get rid of divisions, and so did the SEC as well. There you go. I just saved you the research.
But I know their divisions are a little bit wonky in some ways. So I've decided to kind of realign the Power 4 conferences and split their conferences into divisions that make the most sense. And it could be anything. It could be north, south, east, west. It could be anything at this point, rivalry based. All in all, I just thought this would be kind of interesting to see and get people's opinions on what they would think about it, because even though it makes sense to me, it might not make sense to a lot of other people, especially for those coming from different conferences, because God knows I only know the Big 12 and maybe some of the Big 10, and that's pretty much it. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. But without further ado, let's realign the conferences.
Let's begin with the ACC. Now, I could have gone an east-west route and made it work, but there's so many schools along the coastline that would really mess me up. So I decided to scrap that and go with the north-south route and use the old Mason-Dixon line as reference to see who is north and south. So with that said, the ACC North consists of Boston College, Cal, Louisville, Notre Dame in every sport but football, Pitt, Stanford, Syracuse, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. And in the ACC South, I've got Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, SMU, and Wake Forest. To the SEC, it's pretty simple. Keep an East-West division. However, you have to do a little bit of rearranging to make the divisions more geographically correct. So I'm ruining a lot of college rivalries here. But in the SEC West, I've got Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas, and Texas A&M. And in the SEC East, I've got Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Another conference that's pretty easy, the Big 10. You keep the East-West divisions pretty much intact. However, the one thing that's different, you split the entire state of Illinois in half, thanks a lot to Chicago. So, with that said, the Big 10 West consists of Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Oregon, UCLA, USC, Washington, and Wisconsin. And in the Big 10 East, you've got Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue, and Rutgers. And finally, the conference that can go in multiple ways, the Big 12. Yes, you can go east-west and it would work, but it would have a lot of miles in between. So I decided to go with north-south and stick to like the mid-90s. So with that said, in the Big 12 North, you have BYU, Cincinnati, Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Utah, and West Virginia. And in the Big 12 South, you have Arizona, Arizona State, Baylor, Houston, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, and UCF. And as an added bonus, here are all 8 divisions by distances from shortest to longest. The shortest being the SEC East at 702 miles from Lexington, Kentucky to Gainesville, Florida, followed by the SEC West at 780 miles from Columbia, Missouri to Austin, Texas. Next would be the Big Ten East at 785 miles from Chicago, Illinois to Piscataway, New Jersey. Then it would be the ACC South at 1,307 miles from Miami, Florida to Dallas, Texas. Next would be the Big 12 North at 1,913 miles from Salt Lake City, Utah to Morgantown, West Virginia. Just a little bit bigger is the Big 12 South at 2,132 miles, which is from Tempe, Arizona to Orlando, Florida. Then this is followed by the Big 10 West at 2,249 miles from Eugene, Oregon to Champaign, Illinois. And finally, the longest distance would be the ACC North at 3,125 miles, which goes from Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts to Stanford, California.